Kipaene on the daily development in. The case as they happened a camera. Court record shows that Abrevo Garcia had lived in this for about 14 years. He broke the law and came into the country around 2011 in 2019 police in. Mero interested him and asked him if he was a member of a gang after seeing. He answered he was released into the custody of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, but the police found out he was a member of an Nazi gang based on information from a confidential source. In New York that same year, an immigration judge denied Abrevo Garsia's request for asylum but gave him a stay of deportation which kept him from going back to El Salvador where he was born. The judge thought about threats that a local gang made against him and his family. Stephen Miller, the chief of staff at the White House, said that's no longer important. What you need to know is that you cannot have a withholding order if you are a member of a foreign assassination. There is no holding order. Since he is in a Nazi, in addition, the gang and that the gang that he is accused of being shares no longer. He has in El Salvador the 18th Street. Gang is no longer around the Trump administration labeled gangs like a Nazi as foreign terrorist groups in February. 10 on March 12 Gerberga Garcia was stopped by IC agents who told him the round Chingfauer of the bagger jumped out of the van when the doors flew open. They were no longer living, they looked like men on a mission with a payback. Go raise a smacked his fist together. Embarking in front of a bunch of families makes us look weak, and we really don't like it when people tell us what to do. He said, if you hate being in the military, Logan said with a grin. Rather says got dark, you think you're some kind of badass just because you wear a seal. Logan's face didn't shine. And he said, I know who I am too. The bike slanted at the first one and a big man. With a shave that he threw a wild punch. Logan quickly moved out of the way, grabbed the man's wrist and twisted it. Sickening crack resounded through the air, and the biker howled in pain and fell to his knees before anyone else could respond. Logan gave another biker a precise kick in the stomach, knocking him backwards. He then grabbed the third attacker by the collar and drove with his knee into the man's ribs quickly, knocking him out. Razor stood there, frozen with shock as Logan brutally destroyed his team in a matter of seconds. Razor stayed in business. Logan moved forward slowly. I still think him just talking, he said. Razor's confidence started to fade as he looked at it as he saw men on the ground groaning in pain and holding their broken bones, and knew he had made a terrible mistake. Logan leaned in and said, now it is. It's going to happen. You and your boys are going to get back in that van drive, Rui, and never come near my sister again. If you even breathe in her direction, I find you. He didn't finish the statement, but the threat in his voice was deadly. Razor swallowed hard and thin. He turned and scampered into the van. The others, still groaning, dragged themselves inside as well. The driver slammed the van into reverse and they sped off into the night tire. Screaming, Logan let out a breath and turned back to Sarah's SUV. Sarah had been watching the whole thing with her mouth open in shock. Uncle Logan just beat up all the bad guys. His voice came from inside the car. Emily left. So cool. Logan shrugged and said, you really can't go anywhere without getting into a fight, can you? Sarah shook her head. It was just a lesson in respect for them. Sarah smiled because she knew her brother would always be there to watch out for them as they drove. Rui, Sarah said, let's go home. Logan watched the road behind them to make sure the iron fissures were really gone. He had a feeling they owned butter Sarah again, but he was ready in case they did. A week went by with no sickness of the iron fissures, but Logan wasn't sure they were really gone. Razor wasn't easily embarrassed, and it was late one night. Sarah was getting the kids ready for bed when her phone rang. She looked at the call ID and saw Reizes smiled and said, Hibik, brota, his voice was rasarasche. Vrouwen dat moment ongeveer WJZ. Daur suer lakte chiluen down here. Spine so she dien tink to aische. Quickly lag the front daur and rentu. Check the back, at's going on, she. Whispered, being careful not to scare ze. Kitsai was at the bar during our end. Our heart a couple of bikers talking. About finishing what was started I. Followed them as they did you away. Sarah's heart was racing. How long do I have just herself? Maybe Pat. Minuutjes. Logan told her to stay cool. Imo regione I waited. Sarah hung up. The phone she took a deep breath and grabbed the baseball bat from the closet. She stood near the front door and heard a team make a deliberate ramble. Street was filled with the sound of motorbikes getting louder until they stopped right outside headlight shone. Through the front window, scene making. Scary shadows on the walls of the living room. A hand hit the door. He lady a voice near to open up. Sarah gripped the bed tighter and yelled, "Go with it." She shared life enter not a hard hit. Come on, we just want to talk. Came the voice. IT was Sarah's brother, you see. So it teared with didn't like being made fun of, and he embarrassed us too. Sarah's heart stopped beating quickly as she heard a loud toit on the door as they tried to break it down. And she heard a louder, more familiar rumbler not by but this one was bewitched of Logan the bikers. Turned just as Logan rolled up. He got out it his bike slowly steps deliberate. He didn't look rushed or nervous. He looked deadly raised, left and said, "Well, look who shot up to." Logan turned, which is hit and said, "You know I give you a chance to live it." Razor smiled and we chose not to take it till Logan let out a big mistake when the first biker charged there. Logan he moved so quickly that he was hard to see. One sharp punch hit the man in the throat and he fell to the ground. Screaming for air, another biker came at him with a knife. Logan dove to right there. Blow grabbed the biker's wrist and twisted it hard. The knife fell to the ground and Logan drove his elbow into the attacker's waist, breaking each asnas. Within second, both were on the ground. Razor hesitated, realizing that things it ain't going as planned. Logan cricket edges across and said, "I still want to do this." Razor barked and took a gun out of his belt. Sarah gasped and said, but Logan didn't flinch. In an instant he grabbed the broken knife through it, devoured and hit Razor's hand perfectly. Logan was on Razor before he could respond, slamming him against the house wall and telling him in a low voice, "Listen to me, this is over. You show up again and I won't be so nice next time." Razor swallowed hard and not did let him go. "Now get out of here," Logan said. The other bikers jumped to their feet and dragged their hurriedly drew within. Second, the motorcycles roared back to life and disappeared down the street. "It's services," Logan said with a sigh. Sarah painted at the end through her arms round him. "You always know when to do the right thing." Jake and Emily ran out and hugged with his legs. "That's what big brothers are for," he said with a smile. "Did you beat the bad guys again?" "Hi, Uncle Logan." Logan scrunched up with his hair in a way that looked like that little man Jake kissed with white a Sarah sighed and shook her head. "One of these days you're going to have a quiet visit," she said. Logan lived what was the fun in the effect that there was finally still again at night. The iron claws were gone for good this time, and Sarah and her kids would always be safe as long as Logan was around. Credit cards and banks they feel like they have to jostle Depard Eugene Robinson, a Pulitzer Prize journalist and political analyst for MSNBC, is now in studio with me. Also in studio, Alisa Rubin, a legal correspondent for MSNBC, and James Samuel, a professor of law at Hofstra University and former attorney at the Brennan Center for Justice and Democracy. It's great to have everyone here. This is an important talk there. We're very specific questions that the government was supposed to answer about Kilmara Abrego Garsia's whereabouts. and their plans for it is return however. This is what they wrote in their filet. It's not preferable for the defendants to give the court any information that they asked to thatsats realu otis. Going on now well as Chris you said that. We are already in the middle of a hearing that began 3 minutes ago before. Judge Perzingis and the district of Miron however they say they chant. Share that information because they are not willing to the Supreme Court. Basically told them to do it was said to. That she judge that you need to be more clear about your earlier temporary restraint order which told the government to make Emer Rodriguez Garcia's return Passer Bureau based on the effect that the executive is in charge of the Zauntres foreign affairs he told for to explain how to see the order effectuate. Now it is administration is seeing incredibly in a coward feeling that because of the enormity of their power she can put them on any timeline, and the judicial review isn't really override their constitutional authority, as long as the president can handle foreign affairs. I think the judge will be very harsh with them this afternoon. She hearing show already the yes show already. The yes people who watch us all the time already know this if you look at the government again they are taking not theirs, while they are inside again this isn't. Craig because here typing quickly. But she confirmed last night that the court changed dates previous order and made it clear what the government needs to do to follow it. James and she said 3 areas of first where they are now, what even steps have been taken to make it easy for the defendant to return. Right through what state will you take and when will you bring him home that makes since it's clear it's really not that big of a deal when you think about ITV are asking for very little she wants to, not so little of the government and they are still with the Supreme Court of the United States 100% of support with orte. The ort not only 9 Supreme Court justices have ruled this way but all 13 federal judges who have looked at it have also done so rejecting the government's main idea which is here we made a mistake it. U10 good luck. Moving on to the next 13 judges who disagree with the government's position. This includes District Court Judge Paul 3 judges on the Fourth Circuit and all 9 justices on the Supreme Court, even with that small amount of information you brought up. The government is still refusing they right now and I want to hear what you both think about this. I begin with you, James. What happened that you didn't follow the order to tell me where he is? The Supreme Court's decision is still being looked over. You honor. What do you mean? What do you mean? Where is he? This is amazing. The Supreme Court's decision which came out yesterday was 4 pages long. This is Drew and I mean he might be a good lawyer, but for the past 2 weeks has been the type of person who always says I didn't do my homework, but always comes up with a different reason. He might be doing his homework right now. He may it's clear that is doing what Pam Bundy's Justice Department wants him to do. The lawyer from the Justice Department who answered questions honestly in this case was put on administrative leave and 10 as suspended because they were honest. Now you chant that he shouldn't come as a surprise that people ask how could we pass he is, but it is interesting because tensions so you're saying you have no evidence as to where he is. Yes, it isn't standing that way. No, I cannot share that information. Okay, so I think they are trying to figure out how to buy some time for themselves. Okay, it is clear that they filed something so that they could say that they followed her order, but they at the pin their feet as fast as they can to make a musical theater reference, just like Billy FN and in Chicago they are trying to make a tee up as they go. Long can figure out what their legal position is going to be. This is because they do have some information at their disposal they not to share ATVs. For while they think about it, they going to ask her to explain that it to the forward circuit. Do you think they We'll go back to the Supreme Court. They just going to abandon break the order and say that none of the should be reviewed by the courts they should focus on the decision from last night and say that the judge has to respect the executive power over foreign affairs. As far as I can tell, all 9 justices of the Supreme Court did not mean for that phrase to be interpreted in that way. However, there is some agreement among terms such as the conservatives on the court and some liberals who believe that the judge had the power to tell him to come back right. They are really trying to find a middle ground between this question and earn after one can a district court order the executive to free a foreign citizen who is in a foreign prison because of decisions made by the administrator in the past. Do you know where he is now? This is really troubling. That's what the judge says there. Next one, how did you do to get him back? The judge says, from what I can tell, the Supreme Court upheld my order and it was in full hours from Friday to Monday. She is making the rules, so let me ask you about that special here. I think there are 3 options. The first is that they appear out of the white and hint this information over which, at least based on the first pages of this court hearing, is not going to happen. There to be different and done do it in the third case. They could say, okay, you're going to tell about and say they failed because as you may remember where the Salvadoran government has said that in Union prison there will never live to. What if they don't follow through at all? Well, I mean you set up the 3 options and I think there might be a fourth one, which is to say we treat a cat has one way to directly deal with Steve and make it clear that they are doing so. The Stephen Millers of the word and the administration may see this case as a matter for them to say, yeah, you're going to ignore this court our dissent. Have this battle. They could also decide that it's towards the public relations to just bring Kilmare Garcia back. To be clear, I don't think they will, but if they did, it wouldn't be like he hit a yellow brick road in front of him. It's not like he spends all of his time with his family in Milan. The truth is that he's only stopped from being moved to El Salvador. It's possible for the government to bring Kilmare Garcia back and can get rid of him in a number of ways. Their plans for a big shimmy with